The Breakfast Club Adventures, The Phantom Thief, by Marcus Rashford, with Alex Falase-Koya. Read by Kenton Thomas. To every child who attends Breakfast Club, this is your starting point. The world is full of possibilities. You just have to let your mind take you there. Chapter 1. Marcus sprinted down the school corridor, chasing a tall figure. The first rays of the early morning sun shone through the windows, and with every hurried step that Marcus took, he got a better look at the runaway. The person was wearing a large, dark cape that billowed out behind them wildly. As Marcus edged closer to them, he was able to see that the cape had a number of holes in it, and it looked a bit like an old bedsheet. Marcus's lungs were burning, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. He pushed harder and harder and got closer and closer, and then he leaped forward with his arms outstretched. He smashed into the person he was chasing, and they both crashed to the floor and rolled to a stop. "Did you get them, Marcus?" a voice called out behind him. It was Stacey, the Breakfast Club investigator's fearless leader. "The plan worked, right?" she said, as she caught up with him, looking triumphant. "Have we caught a real vampire?" Liza and Asim, the remaining members of the Breakfast Club investigators, followed up behind. "That looked painful," Asim said, trying to catch his breath. "Good thing we had the tracker on them, otherwise we would have been left in the dust," Liza said, fiddling with her beeping tablet. They all looked down at the person on the ground. Their face was covered by their long cape. It was time to finally solve the mystery and end the case. Marcus slowly pulled back the fabric to reveal who the mysterious figure was and jumped back in shock. It wasn't a real vampire. It was a boy with slicked back black hair. "I will suck your blood," the boy hissed, refusing to give up the act. It was Stanley. "I'm sorry, Stanley. I think your teeth are on the floor," Liza said, pointing to a pair of large plastic vampire teeth. My bad." Stanley's hand whipped out and he stuffed the teeth back into his mouth. "I will suck your blood," he hissed again. The group didn't say anything. They just awkwardly looked at one another. "It's over, isn't it?" Stanley's shoulders drooped. "Yeah, I think it is," Marcus replied. "I would never have been caught if it wasn't for you lot," Stanley scowled. "The Breakfast Club investigators." Just as he said that, Mr. Anderson arrived on the scene. Mr. Anderson was a tall music teacher with short grey hair and a seemingly unending supply of tweed jackets. He was an older man, but his blue eyes were bright and alert. "Another mystery wrapped up. It looks like you guys are on a roll," he said. "We're trying," Marcus replied. "So, Stanley, it looks like you have some explaining to do," said Mr. Anderson, helping Stanley to his feet and then walking off with him to Mrs. Miller's office. Marcus and the other investigators took a moment to celebrate. They cracked the case of the Rutherford vampire. There was no feeling quite like solving a mystery. It was a great start to the day. When Mr. Anderson and Stanley disappeared around the corner, Marcus, Liza, Asim and Stacey walked in the opposite direction, down the long hallway towards Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club was always exciting, but on days when they had solved a case, it was ultra exciting. Well, it was for everyone except Stacey. "So, the Rutherford vampire wasn't really a vampire?" Stacey said with a frown as they sat down at their favourite table under the noisy air conditioner. The rest of the canteen was filled with other kids all enjoying their breakfasts while chatting and playing board games. "I'm afraid not," Asim shrugged. "Yeah, that was definitely Stanley Moore in Year 8, Marcus said. This was typical Stacey. She loved the supernatural. She was always hoping to catch something otherworldly. "But have we properly considered that Stanley might be a vampire?" Stacey continued, with a raise of one eyebrow. "Technically, we have no proof that he's not a vampire. Year 8 are reading Dracula in English right now. I reckon his imagination went a little wild," Liza said, putting a hand on Stacey's shoulder. "Who knows what his reasons were for messing around like that?"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?